Hello, my name's Dallas Hill. I'm from Coder Academy and one of the enrollment advisors here. Thank you so much for tuning. We're just going to hold tight for a couple of moments until a few more people roll in, and then we can kick off. Cool. Awesome. Let's make it happen. So look, thank you so much for tuning in this evening. Once again, my name's Dallas. With me is Lee. You will see her momentarily. You've probably spoken to one or two of us. And yeah, this evening we're going to talk a little bit about, mostly like burning questions. So a bit of a larger Q&A than usual, just to talk about all the things coding bootcamp and hopefully we cover everything you need to know. But before we jump on into it, I'm just going to bring Lee on screen to have a bit of a chat about housekeeping.
Hello, thank you for joining us on your Monday evening. And yeah, if you're feeling bold and brave, do tell us where you're joining us from in the live chat. We'd love to hear from you. We are joining you. Well, I'm joining you from Sydney. Dallas is joining you from Brisbane this evening. And I will see you first on the live chat. So just a bit of housekeeping around the live chat. If you are wishing to pop one of your burning questions into the live chat this evening, please feel free. To make it really easy on everyone and easy for everyone to see exactly what's been asked, please toggle where it says to, change it to everyone so that the question is seen by all, by us and by yourselves as participants. That's really helpful. Then there's just no doubling up of questions. Welcome to you all. I'm going to jump onto the live chat now to answer any of the questions there that I can. Anything that you ask which we maybe needs a lengthier answer, we'll keep until the end, or you'll get a personal response to that post-webinar. Okay, I'll hand back to Dallas now. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Coolio. Thank you so much, Lee. So if someone could maybe say hello or throw something in the chat there just to let us know that you can hear us. That'd be fantastic. And I'll go ahead and share my screen and get it underway. Cool. So anyone who's attending, if you could possibly throw something in chat, that'd be great. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hendrik. Perfect. Awesome. Just wanted to make sure that you guys could hear us. Sweet. Let's get underway. So Coder Academy answers your burning questions, free online info session now. So in acknowledgement of country, in the spirit of reconciliation, Coder Academy acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today. Now, who are we? Myself and Lee, we're both enrollment advisors here at Coder Academy, and we're just kind of here to sort of help guide you on your journey to basically make the most of, your education to break into the tech industry. You've probably spoken to a couple of us before, but if you haven't, welcome. This is us, and we're happy to have a bit of a chat. So your most burning questions, you asked, we answered. We're just gonna, ask a few here in the live chat right now, or like on screen, sorry. So magic numbers, what's the tuition fee at Coder Academy? And are there any payment options? So there is the price straight away. It's always the first question, of course. So it's just over $22,000, as you can see. Now that is payable in monthly installments for accelerated and standard. And also because our boot camps are accredited, so they're nationally recognized courses, you can get a fee help government loan to defer payment for that course. So that's available to you as well for Australian citizens and New Zealand special category visa holders. So yeah, any further questions on that, absolutely throw them into the chat. Happy to answer them as we go, or even answer at the end. Globetrotter coders. So can international students rock with you at Coder Academy? Short answer is yes. So essentially, an international student can definitely join us. So international onshore, so in Australia, can definitely join us, provided they have the right visa that allows them to study. And that visa needs to last for the full length of our course. So they need to, to be here. They need to, have that visa, be eligible to study with us for the whole course. So no COEs issued by Coder Academy. We're 100% online and virtual, just in case you needed to know that. And also, international students who are abroad, who are not currently in Australia, can also join us for our boot camps as well. And they have the ability to pay in installments. So that option's available to you. Time travel. Are live info sessions recorded? So yes, that is correct. Our live info sessions are recorded in case you want to reflect on them at a later date, or something happens, life gets in the way, you get sick and you cannot attend those live classes. When it comes down to it, the live classes are really important. You do need to attend those live classes. As it's a nationally recognized course, accredited, we need to have you'd have an 80% attendance in order to pass the course. So yeah, you do need to attend those live classes when possible, but we understand that sometimes things happen and you can't join us. So if that's the case, then absolutely, check out those recordings later on. Be fantastic. Industry playground. So how do you crack the code for industry placement? So there's a few things to be eligible for industry placement. So good class attendance is one. That's a bit of an obvious one. Turn up to class. Basically show initiative, show us that, if you, will be there for the class, then we know that, you'll probably be there for the industry placement as well. So credit level grades in the first 6 subjects. So essentially, you have to get a passing mark for all of your assessments, preferably a credit pass if possible. Soft skills. So you'll need to be able to speak to people in an interview situation, because when it comes down to it, when it comes to development, it's not just you coding in a room, by yourself, hacking away like, movies in the 90s have kind of like told you. It's a real team player sort of thing. So there's a lot of developers working on, big projects and a lot of communication happening all the time. So you've got to be able to thrive in that sort of environment to be able to, I guess, do your part for the team. So soft skills are essential. And also you'll have to have a 4-week availability. So our industry placements are 1 month, okay, 1 month full time. So you need to have that 4 weeks available at the end of the boot camp in order to participate in that industry placement. Career cruise control. So aside from industry placement, what else fuels your career rocket at Coder Academy? So we do have mock interviews with the partnerships team. So the partnerships team do a lot of stuff, primarily starting in term 3. So you will hear from them initially at the start of the boot camp, but then you won't hear from them for a little while. They'll be doing some things behind the scenes and preparing for industry placement that occurs at the end. But yeah, look, come term 3, there'll be a lot of things like, doing mock interviews with partnerships to get you prepared for those conversations. Helping you, with your LinkedIn profile to get it probably a little bit more professional. You might have noticed that it tends to be one of the more professional social media that is available right now. So, it's going to, sort of sharpen you up and talk about the sort of things that you need to, be liking and sharing and how to basically represent yourself as best you possibly can. Help you with your resume as well. So resumes, obviously everyone's probably got a resume, but for the most part, they're pretty basic. What we'll do is probably help you align your resume more with, development more than anything else. You can definitely share what you've done previously, but we want you to focus on, where you're going to be. Also, we might even help you, or you'll probably by the end of it help yourself create a digital resume as well. So it'll probably be part of one of your web-based portfolio applications, or maybe even it might be just a website you've created, which is just basically HTML and CSS, just something digital that you can share with people too. And then access to industry events. So plenty of industry events that are happening through your time at Coder Academy. A lot of them are sort of partnering companies doing things that you can come and check out. Some of them are run by educators that we have in our teams as well. But a lot of industry events and a lot of, I guess, a lot of time for networking. That's what it really comes down to. So yeah, those are the things that we also provide. So this is a bit of an overview of our bootcamp. So you've got the accelerated bootcamp starting in March of 2024, and also the standard bootcamp starting in the 16th. So standard being the 10-month course and accelerated being 6 months. So the accelerated intake, we'll just skip down to the timetable there. You can see it's a little bit more intense with 23 hours per week of facilitated self-study. And also 12 hours per week of live classes. So essentially the accelerated intake is a full-time job in itself. You can't really work or have other commitments outside of the bootcamp because there just isn't much time. So you really need to be able to dedicate 6 months of your life to the accelerated intake if that's the one you decide to choose. And that one starts in March. And we have one a little bit early, which is the standard one starting in, that actually says 16th of October, I'm sorry. We have a February intake in 2024. That is coming up soon. So that's the one that will be next in line. That one's a 10-month boot camp. You can see there that it's got 8 hours per week of live classes and only 13 hours of self-study per week. So that one you can actually still hold a part-time, casual, or full-time job while studying with us for that 10 months. So a little bit more flexibility there. Both boot camps are 100% virtual, so you never need to step foot on a campus. But if you happen to be in and around Brisbane, Sydney, or Melbourne, we do have campuses available for you to come and hang out and study there from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's available. And we'll also have, educators available for support on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays as well by appointment on those campuses. That's if you want face-to-face support. You can get the same level of support online, through our Discord channels and also through virtual appointments as well. So you've also got your 4-week industry optional industry placement. That one is for both boot camps as well. It's a higher education diploma of IT. The price is there. So the 2023 price doesn't apply anymore. It's just on 2024 now. And like we said earlier, fee help is available for Australian citizens and New Zealand special category visa holders. Everyone else gets to use monthly installments. So here's a little bit of a more in-depth look at the accelerated bootcamp. Just a bit of a nicer, sort of more visual approach to the weekly timetable there. So the yellow is all the time that support is available. And including Saturday, you've got online support available as well. So you got online support available the whole way through the week, actually. But that one we don't have any face-to-face available. And then you got your live classes here, 10 a.m. to 1:45 p.m. Monday to Thursday. And then we could skip over to standard. So as you can see here, the standard delivery allows you to actually hold a full-time, job if you want to work while studying. Now, these live classes, they fall outside of business hours. So you've got a live class for 2 hours on a Tuesday evening, a live class for 2 hours on a Thursday evening, and also a live class from 9 a.m. to 1:30 on a Saturday. And the same support is available. Cool. So here's a bit of a breakdown of the bootcamp. So you got term 1. And if some of these terms don't make a lot of sense, that's okay. At Coder Academy, we teach you everything from the ground up, so you don't need any prior knowledge. But if you do want to know a little bit more, absolutely ask away in the chat. So HTML and CSS, that you'll be covering first, and then you'll be building a portfolio website. You will be touching on Python programming and building a terminal application as well. Then in term 2, you'll be moving on to Python with Flask. So Python being the object-oriented language and Flask being the framework. Then you'll be touching on discrete maths, dealing with deployment, and also working on a full stack application in Flask. And then term 3, you'll be dealing with JavaScript and React.js specifically. And then you'll be also building a full stack web application for a real client. And then you've got the optional industry placement there. So get placed with one of our industry partners and complete a 4-week placement program. So this is just a few companies that our grads are working at, and also, some of them get placed at for industry placement. As you can see there's, quite a few big companies that you're probably quite familiar with, and then a couple of medium-sized companies, a couple of smaller companies as well. So what we do is we try to have a good spread of companies on the go at all times, so that, we can cater to everyone. Not everyone wants to work for a big tech company. Not everyone wants to work for a startup where you wear many hats and do all sorts of things all the time. Maybe there's a little bit too much pressure there coming straight out of a boot camp. But basically, we try to have something for everyone. So there's a lot of different options available. Diversity in Tech Scholarship. So with each of our intakes, we have a Diversity in Tech Scholarship up for grabs. So there's one scholarship per intake. There's 50% off of all course fees, and we're open to all domestic students. So there's a bunch of information to be found on the website. Basically, the one thing to remember with the Diversity in Tech Scholarship, once you've applied and been accepted into the bootcamp, we will then send you a link to apply for the Diversity in Tech Scholarship. So you have to apply for the course and be accepted first, and then you become eligible to apply for the Diversity in Tech Scholarship. The application process is very simple. You apply on the website or via one of the links that, in our emails from Lee and myself. You go ahead and you complete enrollment, a DocuSign letter of offer. And then after that, you basically, begin the course. So it is a very simple process. Even when it comes down to the application portion for the fee help government loan, we actually tie that whole thing into our enrollment process. So I know that some institutes don't do that, and you've got to go and sort of chase that up yourself. We sort of guide you the whole way through this process. It's very simple. So there's nothing to stress about. The application process is quite easy. Join our next info session. So feel free to, check out that QR code, join our next info session happening in December. You'll also be able to register for it on the website as well. I'll leave that there for a second for you. Cool. And that's us again, me and Lee. Feel free to reach out if you have any further questions that maybe you don't want to ask on this webinar, but we absolutely encourage you to go ahead and reach out to us and have a chat. We're an open book. Do it. Cool. And that was it. Lee, welcome back.
Hi. So a quiet live chat, but that's quite all right, because we do have a lot of questions prepared that we know that leads or interested people in joining the courses will ask us over the phone. So we'll just start to go through those, guys, and if you have anything that kind of pops up in your mind, type it in the chat and we'll get to your your questions straight away. So let's begin with these ones. So one of the common questions that we do get asked is, do I need to display any ability to code and to be accepted into the course? Some people may have been learning some of the languages over a long time on online tutorials. Others may never have coded before, but we do get asked this question quite a lot. And the answer is no, you don't need to display any ability. What you need to display is the knowledge that that you like to and are curious in coding, and that you have a passion to succeed in it. Would you agree, Dallas?
Yeah, apart from having to hack into NASA, to give us an example. No, honestly, 100%. We encourage you to dabble in some free online, coding modules to get a bit of a taste for what's to come in the coding bootcamp. But ultimately, we teach you everything you need to know from the ground up, so you don't need any prior knowledge.
Chelani's just popped up on the live chat. Thanks for your question, Chelani. They're asking, I'm coming from a JavaScript background. Do I need Python experience? So no, you don't. It's great that you've got some experience with JavaScript, and that will certainly help you out, of course, because it won't be quite as new to you. You'll have some familiarity with it. But the course essentially assumes that you're a beginner, and so that's where you start from with all the languages. Anything to add to that, Dallas?
No, not really. I mean, look, honestly, that's what makes a full stack web developer. Being able to move between stacks is important as well. And look, if you haven't learnt more than one object-oriented language before, you'll soon find out that your previous knowledge of JavaScript is going to help you a lot when learning Python. Both object-oriented languages. It's just going to have a different syntax that goes along with it. So you'll probably breeze through it.
Nice. Next question. We often get asked this. So, students that are thinking of starting with us, one of the things that is very important to a new student in a course such as this, especially in an online setting, is how many students are there going to be in the class, and how many teachers are there per student? And do you have a limit on how many people you let in? And we get asked these questions very regularly. So look, generally speaking, we don't actually have a limit to how many students can join a cohort, but we do have a deep consideration of how many students there are per teacher. And that tends to be 15 to 20 students per teacher or teaching assistant. So depending on how many students are in the class, then that's how many educators we hire for that class, if that makes sense. And you will feel very well supported by the setup that we've got going on. Yeah. Do you want to do the next one, Dallas?
I'll actually do one just here. Someone's thrown a question into the Q&A.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so just letting you know, guys, don't throw questions in the Q&A, just throw it straight into the chat. But I'll go ahead and answer this one. Do you need any qualifications to get in? Now, what we ask of you is that you have completed year 12. So you have a year 12 certificate. Other than that, that's pretty much it. In saying that, if you don't have a year 12 certificate and you haven't completed high school, or you only went to like year 11, many moons ago or something, not a problem. We have other avenues that we go down to basically assess whether you can come on board. So we'll complete an admissions interview, and we'll have someone from the academic team come and have a chat with you. It's a very cruisy thing, just 30 minutes of sort of back and forth to make sure you're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for you. So there are other avenues. So if you haven't completed year 12, don't go, oh, that's the end for me, and then call it quits. Yeah, we have ways of sort of helping you get into the course. So yeah.
Hendrik has asked us on the live chat, when is the last day you can enroll for the upcoming standard and accelerated boot camps? So technically, Hendrik, you can actually enroll right up until the start date. However, probably not advisable, just in making sure that everything is smooth, and then you also have access to the pre-work for the course and to your learning platform, and to familiarize yourself with all that. So really, I would recommend probably no later than 2 weeks before the course start date. But I mean, if you're pressed or you're having trouble making a decision, you can still enroll if you really must up until the date that we start. Okay. So yeah, you have a lot of time to think on it at the moment. We're just at the start of November. You can come to many more webinars with us, and we'll, tell you more and more details about the course. And by then you should be very well informed about whether you'd like to join us or not. But yeah, right up until the start date. No worries at all.
Cool. So yeah, I'm happy to. Is the next question that we've got there, what languages and tools? Cool. Yeah, so I'll happily, talk to that one, I guess. So what languages and tools do we teach currently? Which are the main languages and tools used for learning front end and back end? So basically we cover HTML and CSS, Python and Flask, JavaScript and React.js. Then we also talk about MERN-Stack, which is a MongoDB and Node.js. So quite a lot. We cover quite a lot. What else? So basically these are all the things that you need to know or you need to learn in order to be able to thrive day to day as a junior full stack web developer, essentially. Also, we touch on sort of bash scripting as well. That's the thing. Like, so bash scripting in terminal is something that we touch on. Git and GitHub is something that we talk about as well, because you'll be using that a lot as a professional developer. And you'll also be using a thing called VS Code, or Microsoft Visual Studio Code. It's basically the standard as far as platforms that coders use. So we really do cover so much in a short period of time. But yeah, after the boot camp is complete, you will be considered a junior full stack web developer, proficient front end and back end, and you'll be able to build, complex websites, databases, web-based applications, all of these good things.
Thanks, Dallas.
That's cool.
We do sometimes get asked, do some students leave the boot camp before completing it? And of course they do. It's natural with any course anywhere on anything for people to drop out before the course is finished. We don't, we make no kind of, how to put it, we don't lie at all about how intense the course is. And when we have conversations with you guys over the phone, there's no way that we would be recommending that you take on a course of study such as a boot camp unless you have the amount of time available around the other responsibilities in your life to be able to do it successfully. So if you are slightly time poor, it's probably something that I would reconsider, or I would reshuffle some things in your life so that you have more time in order to actually be, the best, to have the best success at it that you possibly can. Yeah, because to be honest, the majority of students will drop out because they realise they just didn't have enough time to do it. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah. I think also it's good to note though that we don't have an enormous attrition with these boot camps, because we tend to have conversations with people, and we have these sort of webinars, and we talk to potential students a lot, and we do our best to be realistic and show what these courses are going to be like and what to expect in them. So our attrition is not huge, because we hope that the people joining the boot camps do have a bit of an idea as to what they're getting themselves into by that point.
Dallas, do you want to answer the next one? How many of the recent students were eligible for industry placement, and how do you select students for this placement program? I guess we kind of went a little ways towards explaining that with our burning questions at the beginning, but anyway.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I just got lost a bit. So according to Henry, so he's the partnerships manager that we had a bit of a chat with a couple of webinars ago, 100% of recent students have been eligible for industry placement. So if you're stressed about, having to, pass everything and even get a credit pass on certain, things, it's really not that incredibly difficult. We have a thing called rubric that's assigned to each of the assessments, and you can easily go through and see what you need to complete in order to achieve a certain mark. So you start off with just the basic stuff that you need to do in order to achieve passing. And then after you've got that, and you've got a little bit of time left, because you'll be able to achieve that very quickly, you start working on other things that is asked of you in order to bump it up, and get better and better grades. So it's actually not difficult if you're organized and you follow the rubric well. That's one thing that I will say. Some people pass their assessments, but they don't get amazing grades, because what they do is they get really bogged down in trying to make a particular thing fantastic in these assessments, and they forget about the bigger picture of what they're actually supposed to be achieving. So they'll start to work on one feature too much. So it's really important that you follow the rubric and just basically hit those targets as you go up, and you'll easily be able to achieve a credit.
Next question. How long has this boot camp been running for? Good question. Coder Academy's been delivering its bootcamp since 2016, and we've been nationally recognised since 2019. So we've been around for a while, yeah. And we do have a very solid reputation in the industry for producing graduates who do not need their hands held, hence the intensity of the material that you'll be having thrown at you throughout the bootcamp. You will be doing hundreds and hundreds of hours of practical coding, as the name would suggest. You know, it is a bootcamp, which, you know, it's practical heavy, theory light. You still are going to do some theory, but the main focus is really on making you a competent practical coder that can get out there in industry and, you know, be successful. So what was our next question? And any questions from you guys, feel free to drop them in the chat. We are so happy to answer them.
Just actually touching on that, I think was it 2016 that we started? Yeah, so 2016 we started, and 2019 we became accredited. In 2018, so Coder Academy, we actually started off as we were a startup. So it was a startup company, right? Started with nothing. And anyway, basically, you know, went through, created this boot camp, started delivering it. We were the first people in Australia to be delivering these coding boot camps. It was like a Silicon Valley American style boot camp, and no one else was doing it. And yeah, we sort of turned a few heads. And so 2018, we actually got bought out. So we got a big offer, and then we got bought out. So we actually were a startup for the first couple of years and got snapped up so quickly. So it's pretty cool that we sort of, you know, got so much attention in such a short period of time, and we've done nothing but grow since. So yeah.
So another question that we get asked very regularly by people who we chat with on the phone or by email or by text, or however you guys wish to, you know, proceed. Do many who attend the boot camps work full time? So it's a good question. If you are considering taking the standard boot camp, it is a possibility that you could work full time and do the boot camp. When I say this, that's not going to be an easy option. It will be hard. It would be a matter of making sure that you can attend all of the live virtual classroom sessions, and that you have the additional 13 hours to put towards, and that's minimum, to put towards your coursework. And if you're kind of umming and ahhing that you might not, then it's probably not a good idea. If you are working full-time, then it would be an impossibility for you to join us for the accelerated course, as it runs, you know, through the weekdays, Monday to Thursday, 10 o'clock to 1:45. So we do see that the majority of people who take that accelerated course, for whatever reason, don't actually need to work for the duration of the 6 months. It really is pretty much the only way that you can get it done. Or you may have an enormous amount of long service leave, which some people do if they're a career changer, and they might want to put that towards it. But yeah, it's an impossibility if you're taking the accelerated course. Yes, you can do it for standard. I always recommend, though, if you have been in a long-term employment situation for, like, you know, if you've been with an employer for a while, maybe have the conversation about seeing if you can reduce your days down by 1 or even by a half to give you just some more time to put towards your studies. Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, you know, we're delivering boot camps. They can be quite fast-paced. So even if, you know, for example, you decided to take on the standard delivery and you only had, you know, a casual job, you still need to have good time management. Okay, it's, you know, things can get away from you fast if you're not dedicated to the course. So yeah, these boot camps move fast, and, you know, you will get out what you put in, essentially, when it comes down to it.
Shalani is asking in the live chat, as I understood, we create the terminal app using Python. Am I correct?
You are correct. I don't have anything else to say. But yeah, that's right. I think you'll be creating maybe two terminal applications using Python. I think the second assessment you'll be doing is a terminal application using Python. That's as much elaboration as I can give you right now.
The rest of it is quite secret to us. We know what happens.
I could go down the path. The thing is, with the terminal application, it's basically you get to do, you can make whatever you want with the terminal application. Okay. It comes down to, this actually is a really good example of what I was talking about before, about people getting bogged down in specific things on like with a terminal application. Okay, with a terminal application, if for those who don't know what terminal is the black screen with the white writing, like the hacking away in movies. That's terminal. Okay, terminal is something that you'll find on Mac OS and Linux, and for Windows. There's actually there's a virtual machine called Ubuntu that's what you'll be using, and that actually uses terminal. So yeah, that's basically what it is. Command line for Windows is kind of like the thing, but we cover terminal, and in terminal you actually create something in there. So you could create like a budgeting application, where you type a whole bunch of numbers in, and then it spits figures back out and tells you that you need to spend more here and less here, or you should have this percentage of this left over to be able to do this and these sort of things. Or you can create some sort of turn-based game if you wanted to, if you were that dedicated to it. It's going to take a little bit more time, but the terminal application, you could pretty much do whatever you want. But the thing is, sometimes you might be a little bit ambitious, and you could choose something that's just incredibly complex, and then you'll get caught stuck on doing something in particular, and then unfortunately you maybe will only just pass because you didn't touch on anything else that you were supposed to touch on, because you worked so hard on one particular feature that may or may not have come off in the end. So that's what I meant by that. But that's terminal application. If you have a bit of a think now, you even Google terminal applications, you can sort of get yourself into the bit of a mindset and think about what you're going to do for the terminal application, because it can be a lot of fun.
I'm just going to skip a couple of questions down, Dallas.
Yeah.
Is everything going to be self-learning and instructed learning, or will there be group work as well? There will be a bit of group work. You will do one major project right at the end of your course, which requires you to be in groups, and that will be a full stack it'll be a full stack project, which basically answers a real life problem. So the problem doesn't need to be huge. It could be something quite trivial, or it could be something like, to think of one that I heard of most recently, working on an application which allows people who rent houses to easily speak to their landlords, which is a great idea. I don't know if it would ever really happen, like that would be easy, but yeah, they were trying to facilitate some ease with the discussion of, my window is broken, please help me quickly, that kind of thing. So you'd be working in a group to do that. Self-learning, we call facilitated self-learning, because in the hours that you choose to do that outside of your live virtual classroom times, as we said, you are supported 9 to 5, Monday to Saturday online, and you are very much guided on how to use those hours in the live virtual classroom times. So they'll be telling you, here's what you need to focus on before we next meet, and you'll be very busy. Like, there will be no question of what you need to do. So yeah, just to let you know, it is full on, and you will be guided and you will be supported and very much held by the educators who are taking you through the journey. Yeah.
Also, with the group work, there may only be that one major assessment at the end of the boot camp where you're working in small groups. But there's a lot of activities throughout the boot camp that you'll be working in groups, and a lot of collaboration, even on assessments that are singular and you'll be working on by yourself. There's a lot of chatter in Discord amongst peers talking about what they're going to do, and maybe whether they can meet up with someone to have a bit of a chat, because this particular person knows how to utilize this feature a little bit better than other people. And so there is a lot of collaboration, even though you might be working on an assessment that is solely yours. There's a lot of talk, so there's a lot of interaction still as well.
Thank you for bringing that up. Totally didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, all good. Yeah.
Point. Yeah, it's really good. So this is a bit more, couple of questions about payment now. So if I choose to pay up front, when do I have to pay? Is it at the start of the course? Yes, before the start of the course. So if you're choosing to pay as a full fee paying student, either by term installments or by monthly installments on Easy Debit, your first payment will occur prior to the course start date. It's generally, is it a month before, Dallas?
I think the Easy Debit is 1 month out.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense because like or it could be like a little bit closer. Either way, you know, basically the first installment is almost like the security deposit. Before we get the first until we get the first installment, until that funds clear, we can't give you access to live classes and content. So, you know, whether you are, you know, completing a fee help government loan application, or whether you are, you know, lining up, you know, a monthly installment, like a direct debit thing, you need to pay prior, you know, to the start date in order to gain access to classes and content for the start date itself. So keep in mind, if you were looking to use a like a monthly installment thing, then you will need to probably get it completed, like, you know, sooner rather than later in the scheme of things. If you completed a monthly installment application, let's say 2 days out from the start date of the course, you know, your funds, while they may get drawn out, they may not clear in our account until midweek of the first week of the course. So we're not going to be able to give you access to classes and content until then. So just make sure that, you know, you're prepared with those sort of things, because, you know, you don't want to set yourself up for failure or set yourself up for missing the first couple of lessons.
John is asking on the live chat, and thank you for your question, John. Which operating system is good for coding, Windows or Mac? We officially do not have a preference, but it's important that if you have a preference, that you stick with it. So if you're currently using a PC and thinking of buying a fancy new Mac computer to do a boot camp, not recommended. Better to stick with what you know while you take on a heavy, intense IT course. In any case, the instructors are able to give you instruction on either operating system anyway. Here are the specs on the computers in the live chat now. If you have a Mac, you need OS Big Sur minimum, and for your computer to be no older than 2019 and with 16 gigabytes of RAM. And you can see what it is for PC below as well. So that's the minimum that you need. You don't need a big, hugely expensive, flashy new computer is the point. You need something which has these specifications and you'll be fine. If you need a new computer and, you know, you're kind of thinking, okay, well, I might get one before the boot camp, why not take these specifications to JB Hi-Fi and see how they can help you out for, you know, maybe a good price.
Yeah, that's one important thing. So there is a lot of cheap laptops available through places like JB Hi-Fi, which are Chromebooks. They actually have a Chrome OS on them. You can't use Chrome OS to be a developer. So yeah, just make sure you don't grab one of those. But when it comes down to it, you know, our educators are here to teach you full stack web development. I guess there is certain expectations about you being able to use an operating system and navigate your computer beforehand. So, you know, they're not there to teach you how to use a new operating system or a new OS. You need to know how to use that before you come into the course. So if Windows is your thing, choose Windows. If Mac is your thing, you know, choose Mac.
Dallas, does it cost more if I choose monthly payments?
Yep. No, it doesn't at all. There are no hidden fees. It's basically just the full price of the course, you know, divided by 6 months for the accelerated intake, or divided by 10 months for the standard delivery. Yeah.
Awesome. And we've only got a couple more questions from us, so you've still got a bit of time remaining, guys, to put any other burning questions in the chat. I'm actually just going to drop some academic calendars for February and March into the chat as well, just so you can see what that would look like across the time that you'd take the course, the breaks, the census dates, and also the industry placement period as well. So I'll pop those in the chat now. Okay, so next question. I'm just going to pop these in the chat.
Yeah, you do that. I can cover that. So yeah,
Yeah.
speaking of census states, the next question we've got up, which comes up all the time, is what happens if after I apply, I realize I can't do the course for some reason? So census dates exist. When Lee throws those academic calendars into the chat, you'll be able to click on them and see. But basically, about a week or so, let's say a week or so after the course starts, census date will occur. Now, if something happens, you can, if something happens and all of a sudden you can't do the course, or it's really not what you thought it was going to be, you can withdraw without any financial penalty prior to the census date. Okay. All you need to do is reach out to student services. They may ask you to fill out a form, but ultimately that's what you can do. So if it's not right for you, you can go ahead and withdraw prior to the census date and have no financial penalty. If you have, if you decide it's not for you and the census date has passed, there will be financial penalty applying to it, more than likely term 1.
Yeah, just excuse me there, just taking my sweet time to put
all
things
good.
in here.
And also another thing is that there is a census date per term. So there's 3 terms to the boot camp, whether it's accelerated or standard. There's a census date that applies to each of those terms. So what you could do is, complete term 1, and then maybe prior to census date for term 2, you go, oh, you know what? Something's come up. I need to look after my family for a little while. And so you could, maybe withdraw, and then you could, if you wanted to, you could come back and join us for term 2 for the following intake if you wanted to. The best option is to roll through the boot camp in one go, and then come out the other end as a junior full stack developer and break directly into the industry from there. That is definitely the best option. But if your life is hectic and you get pulled away for some reason, there are ways of sort of jumping in and out of the course.
Yeah, so to give an example how that would look, if you started the February standard course and you completed term 1, and then something happened in your life that took you away from being able to study, then you could potentially join April standard course from term 2. Yeah, so possible to jump back on. Okay, that actually brings us to the end of all of the questions that we had to go through with you. So do you guys have anything else that you would like to know? Drop it in the chat now. We've still got some time. If not, we can finish early and you can go and have dinner. Whatever you like.
Cool. No burning questions.
I think we might have answered everything.
Everything that ever existed, we've answered.
Yeah. I think it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, look, cool. If that's it, guys, thank you so much for coming and joining us this evening to listen to us ramble for a little while. My name is Dallas, and with me is Lee. We're enrollment advisors. If you have not spoken to us before, absolutely reach out to us. You can find our details on the website. Definitely come and have a chat. We're happy to have a chat with anyone to talk about boot camps coming up. Both of our February standard intake and our March accelerated intake in 2024 are open for application right now. So if you feel like it's time to apply, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, it's been beautiful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.